So, my name is Victoria Walker, and I am so delighted to be a part of this group. So blessed to be able to present and share the little bit that I have learned over the last several years. And before I dive into how to actually get your website going, which I know is an overwhelming thought and process, and it talk about the mind's going in, or the thoughts going in your brain, it can really be kind of confusing or a little overwhelming, but I'll try to help you break that down into 5 easy steps. But before we get into that, just want to take a second to say, let you know a little bit about who I am and about my ministry. And basically, my heart's desire is to help women who are in any kind of seasonal change in their lives. Perhaps it's that mom who feels frustrated or overwhelmed, juggling a gazillion balls, or maybe it's the person who I was once back in 2016, who was anxious and depressed and distressed. Those are the kinds of women that I'm hoping to serve and to help in my ministry. I went through a depression back in 2016, and by God's good grace and His spirit, I am no longer who I used to be. And he helped me, he brought me through that depression in amazing ways. And I had a friend at that time challenge me to learn what it means to take thoughts captive. So I took her up on that. And so from there, my ministry was birthed basically. And I want to help women learn how to take thoughts captive, walk with a renewed mind, give thanks in everything, and really be transformed, kind of like I was. So I have a lot to share on that. I would love to be to help you in any way possible, that in any way that I can. And I'm a writer. I write devotional posts for Guidepost magazine. Maybe you've heard of that. It's kind of like the Christian version of Reader's Digest. So I write for them regularly, and I'm right now writing a book, my own devotional called Choose to Think: How to Live Your Best Thought Life. I also started a podcast back in 2020, launched just last year, called Choose to Think with the number two. So my ministry is about a lot about the mindset of gratitude, but also about the importance of our thoughts, our minds, our mindsets, our moods, emotions, brain, everything neuroscience I kind of nerd out on. So that's a little bit about me. I want to remind you, though, as we get started, that I do have a worksheet for this session. And the one for today is fairly long, has a lot of active links in it. So if you download that, I'd also like to put your name in a drawing for a t-shirt. I have this t-shirt to give away. It's a little bit of my podcast brand there, and with that little thought to choose to think each day. So I'd love to give that away. I'll put your name in a drawing for that and announce that on Friday. And also, so please download that, and you'll have as we go, because I have a lot of information, and I hope that that worksheet helps you as we go. Let me grab my sheets here. Also, I'd like to pray as we get started. If you don't mind, join me in prayer, please. Father in heaven, I thank you so much for this day that you have given us. Every day I'm so grateful to be alive, to get to worship you, adore you. I thank you that our work is our worship. And like so many of these lovely ladies who are appearing during this summit, and Shannon, who is organizing all of this, Father, we do this for you. We do this to bring you glory, to advance your kingdom, and to utilize those gifts that you've given us. Each and every one of us has a gift and a purpose. And I thank you that you're quickening that in the hearts of so many women these days. And you're just putting the energy and the fire to the drive and the desires and the passions that they have in their hearts. And Father, I ask that today you would help me to speak in a way that's understandable and comprehensible, and that the content of what I'm trying to share is easily absorbed, and that the folks who are listening, whether live or on replay, walk away with, wow, I can do that. I can create my own website. I can really do this. And God, we ask that you would help us every single step of the way as we do these things that you've charged us to do. And we'll give you the glory. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So The first thing, the very first step I have has the word think, because I know how tricky website creation can be. And some folks are like, no, thank you. I can't do that. I'm going to have to hire a coder or some web designer or something like that. That is so false. It's there are templates available, there are free programs available, and you could literally have a one-page website up to date in less than 30 minutes. I'm quite certain of that. So now it does, you might want to slow down and think about how you want to design your site, but my point is that it does not have to be complicated and overwhelming and like, ugh, I can't do that. It can really be something simple, easy, and it's definitely doable. So you might want to shift the mindset just a little bit into, by golly, I can do this. And my goodness, this is going to be fun. And for me, it revs my engines. I love website design. I love looking, the images and the pictures and the layouts. All of that is kind of like my jam. I love it. So I have a lot of fun on my website. I actually started my website back in 2013 when I released my first book that I'm now redoing, revising. I think I've changed a lot since then, but it was about being a single woman, single sojourner. I'm going to change the title of it, but it'll be out sometime soon this year, I think, revised. But at any rate, that's why I started it. It was because I had a book. I had something that I wanted to sell and market and publicize, and I needed to have a little bit of a home base for that. So there you go. I thought, okay, I'll do a website. And since then, I think I've helped three other people. I maintain the website of someone else. And I also used to maintain the website and created it and everything for our homeschooling group. We had over 100 families in that group, and it was a fairly dynamic kind of website that was heavily used for a lot of different reasons, like teachers when they needed supplies. And we had everything kind of connected to that one site. And I've helped a couple of other people along the way develop and design their website. It's really just that easy. So start by just encouraging your heart that you can do this, and it's simple. It doesn't have to be hard. It can be simple and fun. Also, don't come under the thought that you have to get everything done at once. If you could see the website I have today versus the website that I had 8 years ago, they are night and day different. I mean, totally different. I didn't even know what SEO was, the search engine optimization and all the keywords. I didn't even do that back then because it was just too much for me. And it would have like, nope, I'll just be happy if I get my product up there. That's good for me. So if I share something today and you're like, uh-oh, I'm going on overload, just disregard it and come back to what is simple for you, what is doable for you, and what you can achieve in this process. Instead of, this is too much, too much, too much, I can't do this, I can't do this. Just say, okay, these are the few things that I can do. Matter of fact, I hesitated even to put the word optimize in the title of this session because search engine optimization and website optimization is a little bit out there for me, and I know basics, but I don't know really the ins and outs of that say a professional might have, for example. But that doesn't matter. I don't let that keep me from learning a little bit as I go and changing as I go and transforming my website tomorrow or next week or the next week. So it doesn't have to be all at once. You can think very simple here. We're going to do this. It's going to be easy. Matter of fact, I am happy to jump on a free one-on-one 60-minute session with you, and we can go over the nuts and bolts of this. I can help you in any way about designing your website, brainstorming even on what you want to put on there. So you have a lot of support in this group. If you need any kind of help like that, we're so happy to help you. Okay, so Step one, then, keep it simple. Think simple, not overwhelming, but simple. Step number two is to brainstorm and determine your purpose. As a matter of fact, on the worksheet, I've given you about, I don't know, 7, 8 questions that you can ask yourselves about exactly what you want your website to be, what purpose you want your website to serve, why do you want a website, those sorts of things. And ask yourself these questions and just begin jotting down your answers, because as you do that and as you clarify your why as to the website, essentially you're also designing it in a way. It may impact the different images you choose and the layout that you choose to have, the template that you pick for your website, for example. So some of those questions that I ask are: what is your purpose? Do you want to sell products? Do you want to promote your writing or your blog? I've been blogging since 2013 also. Now, there are big gaps in this 8-year span, but I only recently, like I said, revamped and rebranded last year, and started blogging regularly. They say of all things that you do, just be consistent, show up regularly, keep that consistency going, because that helps your audience to know that, hey, I can count on her to show up, and there's going to be some blog post over there, some writing, some content that she's putting out. So that's important. And I wanted to have that because I'm a writer. And so I wanted to have that regular blogging activity, and my website, of course, that's hooked on to my website. So maybe that's why you want to start a website. Maybe it's just to write, just to blog, and that's great. Maybe you want to build an email list because you can put pop-ups on your website, or you can put little tabs, little click this button and opt in, and receive the newsletter, or let me give you a piece of content, like maybe a guide, like a how-to, or a cheat sheet on taking thoughts captive. I have an infographic, for example, in my exclusive area of my website, where folks can get, oh, I don't know how many downloadables there are there, about our mind and about our thoughts and about gratitude and other fun things that I like to do and put out there and just give for free, because the give model is Christ-like, for one thing, and it's such a good business model for what we do. And we want to give, and also show folks kind of who we are and what we do. So perhaps you'll put that little landing page, or a button for opting in and subscribing, and then you're building your email list through your website, so that you can start developing your network and developing those relationships. You may want to show testimonials. Maybe you've written a book, maybe you have a product, and so you want to showcase the testimonials from your clients, or from folks who have used your product or read your book or been interviewed, or whatever it might be. The website is a great place for that. And I think I've heard Shannon say something like that is her place. She refers everyone over to her website. Websites are powerful. They're a humongous storage library if we want to use them that way. And so begin thinking about, how exactly do you want to, what is the purpose of your website? Why do you want to create one? What's your mission in that? Does it fit well with having a site, a centralized place where folks can tap in and see who you are? What information would you like to share on your site? What would be the tabs, the pages that you want to have on your site? Have you thought about that? Maybe, and I'll show you, I give you a screenshot of my website, of the home page of my website, and I opened it up a little bit so you could actually see the tabs that I have there. And on there, you'll see I've got a home page: coaching, podcast, blog, author, exclusives, and that little tab is password protected, because I want subscribers or people who receive my newsletter and desire to connect with me in some way and to be abreast of what's going on in my ministry. So that little part of my website is password protective. I have merchandise. I create t-shirt designs based on podcast themes. I have, like I said, I love the visual and images and all of that. So that's just a fun thing to do. It doesn't generate a whole lot of money, but a little bit of income. Plus, it's fun. So I'm big into the passion and the energy that God gives me when I'm just having fun, helping and serving. To me, I'm just having a blast. And so I do that little thing for fun. I have a podcast guest form there. So for guests who would like to appear on my podcast, there's a form already made, which will get all of their information, their URLs, books they're selling, whatever it is that they have, I can capture in one little form, and I just send them there to get it. It makes it so much easier. If you're a writer and you would like to appear on my website, on my blog, I welcome guest writers and guest bloggers. I love to network like that. So if that's you and you have a story to tell about how wonderful God is and how your mind and your thoughts are all fired up for Him and things that He's doing in your life, I'd love to know that. My readers would love to have you showcase there, and they would love to read that. They want encouraging stories about how God works today in this 21st century. We know He does, so we get what a privilege to share that and to have a platform. So I've got that already ready. You just go there and say, "Yeah, I'd like to submit writing." You can do that. And then of course, I have a connect part, and I think connect, I like the word connect instead of contact. Connect, so I changed it. Forever I had contact, and I changed that to connect. And I'm always, scoping around on everybody's websites, especially those folks I kind of like, I want to be like. I look at, okay, how do they have their website and what words are they using? And so I borrow those and put them in mine. And I was somewhere and it said connect. I'm like, oh, that's such a great word because it implies it's two-way, and it's like, I don't know, isn't that a little bit more intimate to, hey, I want to connect with you and let's get a connection and a relationship. So that was a simple little tab that I have that folks can click on. And then I have a media kit. And that media kit page, especially if you're a speaker, a presenter, a blogger, a podcaster, if you're any of those things, folks, they're going to need to have your information readily available for them. And so all you have to do is copy the URL on that page of your website and say, hey, here's all the stuff you need to know about me. You can use all of it. You can include images and your bio, um, all the freebies that you have, any offers that you have, what you're doing, all your social media links, everything in one place. And so I have that there. It has saved time, made my life so much easier to have just a hub. I call it a hub because that's everything to me. It's got all of my stuff right there. It's my home base, right? Okay, so begin thinking about the pages that you want that would serve you in your ministry, in your business, and would be easy for your clients, your audience to figure out, okay, this is what I need. This is the title. This is the page that I need to look at right now because it's of interest to me. Think about keywords. Start thinking about keywords. Even today I change my keywords on my pages, and I go back in often. We've got this hashtag world that we live in, right? So what are the hashtags for you, for your business, for your ministry? What are they? Just make a list. It will change. Matter of fact, I post on Pinterest a lot, and I'm like, good night. There are so many little hashtags that I didn't even occur to me, but would be perfect for what I'm doing and or what I'm posting. So, and then I'm like, oh, I always want to keep that one. So your keywords, your hashtags, all of those things are going to change, but just start with a list. Maybe you can come up with five keywords that kind of grab what it is that you're doing and are essentially what you're all about. So begin thinking about your keywords. And then you can even jot down, what do you want to include there as in terms of extra resources? It could be videos, your photographs, okay, photos of you. Everybody's going to want to see you. your product images, any affiliate links, if you do affiliate marketing, you may want to have all of those products. By the way, you can blog just about using affiliate links like crazy. And maybe that's something that you want to do. Maybe you have a brick and mortar place, so you're going to want a location listed as well that folks can get any kind of basic information, service hours that you have, those sorts of things. Just start thinking, brainstorming, how is all this going to fit together on my website? I think you'll get a lot of good ideas just in as you generate ideas, more and more will come to you. And again, I'd be happy to sit down and help you with all of that. Now, you'll also see that probably the most important part of your entire website is going to be your home page. The very first page, boom, that folks get when they click on your you URL, your website address. Okay, that's going to be what they see right off the bat. And I want you to think back to a newspaper. Think about how newspapers were folded over. Well, apparently, for websites, they use a term called above the fold. It's above the fold. Before you fold a newspaper, boom. It's that first part, the headline, right? The major title there, that little headline. Anything above the fold is your hook, and you're going to want to really maximize that space on your website. Now, I've since I've revamped and gone into business for these year plus or so many months, I've learned a lot about business, and I've studied websites, and I love Pat Flynn. Matter of fact, he reviewed my website live on his YouTube channel. It was wonderful. And I got so much feedback just from him. I think that was back in January of this year. And it took me about 4 or 5 hours to actually do everything that he said, but I did it. I spent the next day doing that, and it was so helpful to me. But your banner image is probably should be you so that folks can see you, and that hey, there's a person here and this is who she is. And then the next little part above the fold, you're going to very quickly want to tell folks what you can do for them. All right, the what's in it for me, they're going to want to know what's in this for me, and that may capture them. So for me, what I have is I have a hey there, I'm Victoria, and I have a picture of myself in the beautiful little town where I live, Midway, Kentucky. And then it says, I coach women like you how to live their best thought life. So it's a little bit intriguing, like, oh, because you've heard, hey, how to live your best life. Well, I changed that to how to live your best thought life. All right, so it's and then, I'm so glad you're here. So anyway, it's just a little bit different, and that's above the fold. So maybe it would cause them to scroll on down. You probably want to get an ad in there or a call to action for them fairly soon after that fold beneath that. And so I have a call to action that says, I think I say something like, transformation is only one thought away. Let's get started. And then, because everyone wants transformation these days, right? And God's word tells us that we can be transformed by the renewing of our minds. So it's all kind of connected for me. And then I have two freebies, two offers that I have, and you can just click either one, and boom, that gets you in, and it gives a real quick call to action early on the page. All right. Okay, um, let's go. So step number one, think simple. Step number two, brainstorm and determine your purpose, and start gathering thoughts about exactly what you would like to put on your website. Step number three is to choose a website builder. I'm assuming that if you're like I am, you don't know someone who builds websites, like a technician, a web designer who does all the coding and does all that for you. If you're like most of the world, I think we just go to website builders. That's what I did back in 2013 when I chose mine. And on the worksheet that you can download, it has I've listed three possible or the most popular website builders out there, and they all have free accounts. So you don't even have to pay anything. Matter of fact, at first I might just say fiddle around with it, have fun with it, see what it's like. You can even delete, you can just do a practice one. Matter of fact, I teach Spanish at the university level, and I've done that for almost 30 years now. I love teaching, and I love Spanish, so it's just been a great combination. But they give us, as faculty in like every learning management system where I teach on the campus at all these different universities and colleges, they give us what's called the sandbox, and it's built in like Blackboard or Canvas. Those are learning management systems that different universities may use. And they give me a little sandbox. Well, what do kids do in sandboxes? They play and they have fun, and they build something, and then accidentally it crashes, or they knock it down, or the wind knocks it, it's just a place to play and to enjoy and to have fun and learn. So you can do that with a website too. You can go ahead and set up a free website and just play around with it. It doesn't even have to come to anything. You can delete it if you want and use the free versions to do that. You've probably heard of Wix.com. I'm quite certain you've heard of WordPress.com. That one is the most popular one. I actually use something called Weebly.com, Weebly. And I don't know why in 2013 I picked that one. I don't know if it was through my research at that time, and it's been fine for me. It has a limitation on the blogging function that I don't like, because it doesn't have a RSS feed for blogs. And so people can't actually subscribe to my blogs. And I just do a workaround, and I just put the links in my newsletters that come out. And so I kind of get the word out that way. But that is one thing. So I'm very familiar with Weebly.com because that's where I've designed other websites, including my own, the homeschooling co-op, my hairdressers. I do all of her website for her private salon, and then I've helped a couple of other people, and I've just used what's been familiar to me, which is Weebly.com. Now, you may be wondering, what is a domain name? The domain name is something you actually purchase. Now, the website builders, like I said, have free accounts for you, and they will even give you a free it's a free URL, but it's with a subdomain. In other words, it's going to have their branding on it. So for example, when I first started my website years ago, my website said something like this: victoriadwalker.weebly.com. So weebly.com, that gave me that little, I was nestled under them, and that was free. But it's kind of a big, long address, and you see that Weebly in there, and people are like, what's Weebly? Or, it's kind of confusing. So if you don't want that, you can actually buy or purchase your own domain name, and then you can direct it. And I know this sounds a little complicated, but it's not. And these folks will help you if you need the technical help, like I did. Believe me, I talked to a ton of people. I'm like, GoDaddy, hey, help me, GoDaddy. And Weebly, help me, Weebly. So I dealt with a lot of people trying to make all this work at some point, but eventually I did want my own URL, my own domain name. And I've actually purchased several. Like I have choose2thinkacademy.com. I have choose2think.co. The com wasn't available, but I took the .co. I have victoriadwalker.com. I bought several that and some people even buy more than that, and they're very reasonably priced, like for $12 a year, and it is subscription, but you keep that domain name. So, and that's what costs something though. victoriadwalker.weebly.com, free subdomain. victoriadwalker.com, I bought, I own, and that cost me $12 a year. Okay, so you can take your choice on that. Even though you use the free account in Weebly, for example, or WordPress, or wherever you go, you can you can direct your domain name directly to whatever website builder you're using. So no worries about that. There is a seamless transition, and you can do that. You also want to make sure that you have a secure website, because everyone likes to see the little lock at the top of their screen. Matter of fact, I'm looking at this one. Facebook has got the little lock. There's security measures in place. So many of the folks like GoDaddy who sell domains will also offer you security there, or actually Weebly, where I have my website, had built-in security, but you may have to do a few things to make sure that you've got that security measure enabled on your website. But again, if this is getting too sticky for you and you're like, uh-oh, you lost me, Victoria, no worries, okay? You just get the website, pretend like it's a sandbox, play around, and don't worry about all the domains and all that stuff, okay? Now, going on to, so we've got those first three steps, which is just think simple and then start brainstorming. And then number three, choose a website builder, because that takes us to step number four, which is also a whole lot of fun, and that's choosing your template. Because you go through a website builder, there are a gazillion templates available for you. And this is where you're going to think back on. Remember, Cricket talked, was it yesterday, about branding? And so you get to start thinking, oh, what do I want my website to look like in terms of the template, the design, branding, colors? You might pick 2 to 3 colors that are going to be your colors and have those kind of tie in all your pages or be seen on your page, the fonts that you choose, you know, the layout. So these website builders already have the layout for you. It's just a simple drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop, whatever you want over into your page. Like you want the banner, okay, you upload a picture to go into your headline, your front banner. You choose the titles of the pages. You just add those on, and slowly, before you know it, you have this incredible um, just engaging website. And you may just start with one page. Just have one. I've seen a lot of those. A lot of, like, you go to Amy Porterfield and Kathy Heller and Jenna Kutcher. You go to some of those folks, and they've got these unbelievable websites, and they just go and go and go, and you keep scrolling down and down and down. It's like they're bottomless or something. They just keep going all the way down, but they're engaging and they're interesting, and then you click a link and it'll take you to the other page, or folks can still tab over. So it's that's another thing that I would do. Like I said, that I do. I snoop around and I try to look at what everyone else is doing and just see if I like that and what's the feel of that, what's the atmosphere. And this is where you're creating your brand, and your personality can really show through on your website. I love to hike in Midway, and so I've got pictures of Midway. That's where I did hire a professional photographer last year to put on my website. It was just for that purpose. And so she and I walked around Midway, and she snapped all these beautiful pictures with a lot of land. I live in horse country, and so it was just very, very nice. Now, folks say that you should probably update your photographs. You want to make them current at least every other year, and just so you kind of constantly have fresh content. That's important, but that's on down the road. We're just trying to get you to have one one, just to start, okay? Um, you can think of your logo also. And, I've not even, logo is probably like bzzzt on the list. It's way down there for me. And I've tried with all these, tried to make my own little logos. You can go to canva.com and create your own logo. Placeit.net, you can do your own logo. And, there are a lot of places to help you, but that's not as important probably as the content of what's on your website and what you're sharing. So just explore all your options. And then finally, step number 5 would be kind of what I said, and that's to update your website often. Come back and just say, okay, speaking of time management, we just heard Angel share all this wonderful knowledge about time management and productivity. Maybe you can schedule a block of time. Just say, I'm going to work on my website 1 hour a week, period. 1 hour a week, I'm going to do my website, and then do that and have fun with it, and say, this week or this month I'm going to add photos, or I'm going to add more content, or I'm going to create a new page on there. You can have fun with it, but but update it, and know that websites evolve. They change as you go. And then finally, consider using search engine optimization, SEO. This is what Google runs on. Folks who are searching for you, you want to be high in the list, and that's where those keywords really, really do come into play. And so on the worksheet that you can download, I have listed here I took a snapshot, a screenshot of where I go. I go to my pages. This is how it is in Weebly. I go to my pages, and then I choose on SEO settings, and then from there I can begin to list what is the description of my website, the page description. So for your home page, that's the page that everyone goes to generally right off the bat with that URL. So for example, if you put Victoria D. Walker into Google, I come up first there. It is the very first thing on Google. And I listed that for you too on the on the worksheet. You can see a screenshot of just a Google search Victoria D. Walker, and up came victoriadwalker.com. That was the first thing, and it actually says there, it gives the description of my home that is found on my home page, and it says this is, and I won't be able to read it without my glasses. The Hub for the Choose to Think podcast, Start with a Grateful Heart blog, and the Fired Up Mind Academy with Victoria D. Walker. Start living your best thought life, and blah 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 blah. And then you'll see other links. But a part of one of the reasons that comes up there has to do with the fact that I've used keywords, and I show you where I just list keywords and I try to go in and update them often. And one teeny little note here, when you do search engine optimization, it is not for the entire website. Keep that in mind. Search engine optimization is by the page. So you're going to have to go into every single page. I listed all the pages and all the tabs that I have in mind. And on every one of those pages, I have listed keywords. For example, my coaching tab has all kind of stuff about coaching, and the Fired Up Mind Academy, and my digital course that I have, and because that comes with my digital course that I sell also has coaching with it. So it's listed all of those. It might be slightly different page to page to page, but if you don't have time, and you can just duplicate the SEO, you can go ahead and put the same words on every page if you want, and then put on your little scheduler, okay, I'm going to change those or work on SEO words. Do that later, and all of that will really help you with optimizing your website. Updating, keep it fresh with your photographs, your images, your writing, stay consistent, but then also optimize in the sense of focus on those search engine keywords to help you. And Melanie also mentioned in the group, she posted a link recently for um 51, what is the next word? I can't even read my own writing. Website traffic ideas. All right, so check out that document that she put up there, because that would also be, I think that would also be very helpful. Finally, the very last page has a list of resources that I've used, and most all of these are free for you. I found as I was trying to put together my thoughts for this presentation, I didn't want to, wanted to make it simple, but I also wanted to kind of make it broad. This is very broad presentation. Try to be simple and specific at the same time, but it's kind of like we're a mile wide and an inch deep here, only because I didn't want you to feel overwhelmed. But there are some really great articles that will take you back through all of these tips that I have shared, and give you a very clear, more detailed step-by-step approach on how to build your site. I've got an image optimizer listed here also, because you want your website to be fast. When people click on it, because they may be using their phone device, right? Although surprisingly, a lot of people prefer to use their desktop for website browsing. I thought that was curious, but social media, we use our phones, but our website often we're still using the desktop. Has the most of the percentage there, the higher percentage there on that. So if you've got images that are um, and I'm learning about this a little bit, so I'm not sure exactly, like that you can research the sizes that are optimal sizes for your website, and then just use those. That might be something that you can do, so that they work both on a desktop and they would function well on a cell phone and not get just too much and take too much time to load. Matter of fact, I also included a site which is a website grader. It will give you once you get your website up and running, and again, put this off till later, but you could say, oh, I wonder what grade my website will get. What is, how is it performing? It's a free service. You just put in your URL and boom, it goes tick, 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 and it gives you all this information free. Matter of fact, mine was laggy on the photo sizes, and it showed me two of them that were problematic. So I changed their sizes just because of that, because you don't want someone to click on your URL and then it's just like loading, 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 and it doesn't come quickly, right? So I gave you that link as well. You might want to look into Google Analytics and Google Console. They'll provide for you free information about your website and any kind of issues. They'll crawl it. They kind of like crawl it, like they'll send these people to try to figure out what it is. I guess they're bots that are crawling it and seeing if there are any issues there. And those are free services that Google provides as well. I have a wordstream.com for keywords is a great place to go as you're trying to design your website and you're thinking about keywords, hashtags, and what your ministry is actually about. Even if you can come up with say 4 pillars of your ministry, of your business. What are the 4 purposes? So you can think of just a chair having 4 legs. What does your business stand on? What does your ministry stand on? Break it down into 4 pillars. That will also help you with keywords, and you can put keywords for each of those areas, each of those themes for your website. Go to Pat Flynn on YouTube. He does reviews of YouTube channels and websites free of charge every single Saturday, I think it is. And it's amazing. You can even just watch how he's analyzing everyone else's website. You'll get so much feedback there. He is a guru on these sorts of things. Finally, as you're designing images and pictures and so forth on your site, you can use free stock images like Unsplash, Pixabay, and Pexels. All of those are free stock images. They're stunning photography. I mean, it will blow your mind, and it's all free, and you can download and use those. And then Canva.com, I can't remember, someone mentioned that also. Canva.com is really good if you like to design your own images and create invitations or little blocks to go on your website or flyers for events that you have coming up. Use canva.com for that. It's all free. And then if you wonder about your headlines and blog titles, this is another site that I use, and it's called headlines.sharethrough.com. And you put your headline or your title in there. I use it for my podcast titles often, and it'll give you a score, and the higher the better. And sometimes they use an emotional value of your reader. Your reader sees this headline, boom, they want to click it. Sees this one, not so much, they scroll through it. So you begin to learn how to develop, how to choose those titles and headlines for your blog post, your podcast, whatever you're writing, in ways that are really, really catchy. So I think that I'm nearing the end of my time and want to make room here for Shannon to come on over. Thank you so much, Shannon, for all you do. And listen, if you download this sheet, whether you're live or you're coming back for the replay, no matter, you download that. And then I'll have your name, and I'll put your name in for the drawing for the t-shirt and a little bit of Choose to Think podcast jazz swag. And then as well, if uh, after you do that, I also offer one-on-one sessions with you. I would be so happy to work with you on your website and just have you knock around a few ideas together, totally free. I would love to have that girlfriend coffee time with you, and just as a one-on-one. Love to be able to serve and to help in any way I can. So God bless you all, and I hope that this has provided value to you and that you're on fire and energized and excited about your website, because you have something so valuable to offer to a world who needs to hear just what it is that you want to share. And let's just put that out there on your website and kind of show your stuff, which we know is all pointing to the God that we serve. And may He and He alone have the glory for all of our efforts and all of the worship Our work is our worship. All of that that we give to him, may he be glorified. And I wish you blessings and say, if you want to come back tomorrow, I'm presenting at the same time at noon. Tomorrow's Thursday, right? And so I'll be talking about fear of presenting because I know that some of you are watching. You're like, oh, I could never present, or that scares me, or I don't think I'm qualified, or I don't have what it takes. That is so false. So let me give you some tips and tricks on how to present, how to ditch the fear and present with confidence and courage, because you can do it because you have a God who will enable you to do that. And your message needs to get out there and he will help you. So you can begin getting new thought patterns and new mindsets about presenting and about sharing what only you can share in this world. You have something so valuable. God has gifted you with talents and gifts that we need to see and we need to hear, and we want you to share. So tune in tomorrow. I'd be glad to help you with that topic. So God bless you all. I guess I'm just going to end this chat, and I hope to see you tomorrow. God bless. Thank you so much.